Hello and welcome to yet another video from the only source of information that you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to be just talking about a basic Bible concept with my friend Jerr. Say hello to the camera, Jerr.
Hello everyone in Substance and Covering in YouTube land.
And where are you from?
I'm originally from Wyoming. But me and my daughter, we live in Missouri now, so in the heart of the Ozarks.
When I heard him talking to me on the phone, I was like, "Are you Native American?" And he goes, "Well, no, I'm a white boy, but yeah, I'm." Well, tell him your thing about all the different races of human that have ended up in your DNA.
Oh man, I'm everything. I guess I'm like a Heinz 57 ketchup bottle because I'm Cree. I'm Cree Native American. That's my Native American side. And then my grandfather, he's part English. He's from England. And my grandmother is actually, she was born in Mexico. And I'm part French. So
yeah. But his daughter is here with us. She walked out here about halfway and got scared and went back. But her mother is Lakota. 100%,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
So his daughter really looks like if you're watching a TV show about Native American culture, his daughter looks just like one.
You can really see it in her, for
right,
sure.
100%. So even though it's not 100%, it looks 100%. But anyways, because he had Native American background, I didn't know how much of the culture had gotten into him. I guess over the years, he's heard stories from his grandpa about his culture and his grandma and his mom and his dad. But he really, when I asked him about Native American culture, he's not that into it because, as he was saying, it's kind of fake, right? The stuff they have on TV now when they show them doing their rituals and things.
Right. Well, I think these days they have like a lot of propaganda around the tribes and stuff that they've taught them over the years, So more than anything, I consider myself to just be a human being. I don't really like all the dividing and all the labels of races and colors.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I've always been intrigued by, with, like, you think about it, all of the stuff that we get from the Bible, the Quran, all of that comes from the other side of the ocean. So we're not exposed to a lot of the religious beliefs of the Americas from right. Back at that time. But I did know that one of their things that they talk about a lot is Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. So all my life, I've been told that all of these religions that are not Christian are demonic because there is no Mother Earth in the Bible. But I knew that wasn't correct. So when I did my Melchizedek series, I almost addressed this, but I wasn't sure of myself, and I didn't want to cause any problems with anybody, so I just left it blank. But if you look at the Bible, it makes puts a lot of importance on the Ten Commandments, but in particular, in the New Testament, it says that the first commandment with a promise is to honor your father and your mother. And so a lot of the Melchizedek series was based on that. If we honor our father and our mother, we wouldn't kill our brother and our sister, because that would be dishonorable to our father and mother. But you think about who your father and mother are, and then you could go back and say, well, who were their father and mother? Your grandparents. And who was their father and mother? Well, eventually you're going to get back to the ancient past when Adam and Eve lived. And Adam's father was God. And so we were talking the other day about who would be our mother according to the Bible. And it involves who Adam was made from. And
that would be the earth. Would be
right. It said Adam and Eve is like God formed the man from the dust of the ground. And the ground was the ground of the earth. So, in a way, in a sense, and probably this is what the whole point is that we are to honor our Father, God, who created us, but we're also to honor our Mother, Earth, from whom we were created, because basically, even in a sexual reproduction, the father just gives one little small piece to the mother, and then from the mother, the child is created. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, there's a lot of other verses in the Bible that kind of support this in a weird way, and I don't know that I've ever talked about it before. But we were looking at like the sacrifices that were made. They were all blood sacrifices. So the question I asked is that of Jerr was, what kind of blood would have come out of a goat if they sacrificed a goat?
It would just be goat blood.
Right.
So.
And so it also talks about war as a bloodletting, and it talks about killing people. So if you kill a person, what kind of blood comes out?
Human blood.
So one of the things I was thinking about, and this is important, it doesn't seem important right now, but when Moses went to in front of Pharaoh, and he said, "Let my people go," Pharaoh said, "Well, who are you? And who is this God that you talk about that says, 'Let my people go'? I don't know him, and I'm not interested." So Moses said, "Okay, well, my God is going to plague you." And one of the plagues was to turn the Nile to blood. And a question that's never been answered is like, what kind of blood polluted the Nile?
And that would be oil.
Right.
because the blood of the earth is oil.
Right.
So.
Now, this doesn't seem important at the time, right now, but if you think about it, okay, Adam, the Bible very clearly says that the very first time Adam was here, he was a living soul. The second time Adam was here, he was a life-giving spirit. So very clearly, the Bible is telling us that Jesus Christ is our Father. He was Adam. Jesus Christ was Adam returned to life on the earth. God did not simply create Jesus out of nothing. Why would it be important to create a person out of nothing to lead mankind? We were all created out of nothing. Why couldn't we just lead ourselves if he's going to do that? But that was our real Father. And so Jesus would have represented Adam, whose mother was the earth. When Jesus died, well, we already talked about this. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yep.
Okay, explain what happened when the soldiers were told that it's getting close to sundown.
Okay, so when they were told to put a spear, I think it was, into Jesus' side, what came out instead of blood was actually water.
And blood.
And blood.
Right.
Water and blood.
And they make a big deal out of that. Like throughout the Bible, it says things like, I think it's 1 John chapter 5 and verse 7 or something like that. It says, out of the earth there are three that bear witness in heaven. That's the Spirit, the water, and the blood. And it's like, why? What in the world does that mean? Why would the Spirit, the water, and the blood be be a witness? And I got to thinking, when Jesus died, what went out of him? Spirit, water, and blood.
Right.
Jesus' mother was the earth. The earth represented Jesus. Jesus represented the earth. They're all part of the same family. When we take water and petroleum out of the earth, we are also taking the Spirit out of the earth. The earth is a living being, period. And so all of those verses about water and spirit and blood, and there are a bunch of them. There are a bunch of verses in the Bible about the importance of blood, the importance of water, the importance of the Spirit. All of those are ways for God to tell us that this earth is a living being, and it is our mother. When God created Adam, it says very clearly in the Bible, He placed Adam in the garden, and in our English Bibles it says to dress and keep the garden. But in Hebrew, what it says, which is not to dress and keep the forest, it says that God put Adam in the garden in order that he could make sure nothing bad happened to the garden, so that the garden would make sure that nothing bad happened to the man. When it says that God told Adam to have in submission the birds and the beasts of the fields and the fishes, the English-speaking world has translated that to make it seem as if God is giving us permission to convert all life on the planet into commercial sales goods. That is not what that's about at all. The word that it uses there is bring comfort to the birds and the fishes and the land animals. It's not about beating them and killing them and taking their skin and taking their meat. It's about taking care of them to make sure that they are comfortable, as the other scripture says, so that those animals will make sure that we're comfortable. Scripturally, if you are a real Christian, you have to. It is your responsibility to recognize that the earth is your mother. What do you think about all this stuff?
About the earth being
well,
the mother?
You watch all my videos. Have I ever done a video like this before that you know of?
As far as talking about
Mother Earth?
The earth being the mother of us all? No. We've done a lot of videos about how the Creator is our father, but not a whole lot talking about how we have a mother too.
I'm always thinking I can't say anything that's offensive to people unless there's a reason for it, because a lot of the things I say I think are so important you have to do it and not worry about offending people.
Right.
But at this point, okay, I have how many subscribers? 1 million subscribers, and not really, but you know what I'm saying. But I got about 100 people that I really think are interested, because I got about 100 people that are always there. They always watch the videos over, like you. Mm-hmm. You always watch them over and over again, and you're like always positive.
Comforting thing to me sometimes. Even if I'm not learning something from it, I'm being comforted from even from you and Al Toledo and Carlos and everyone. Just hearing you guys speak is comforting.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I probably, at this point in my life, I'm kind of at an ebb in my spirituality. I probably just need to start listening to my videos over and over again, because when I first made the videos, and people don't know this, but, well, they do. I've talked about it before. When I would get done and I had a completed project, I would never post it to the public until I had listened to it over again. Right. And while I would be listening to them, I would be crying, because it's just unbelievable to me that these things are coming out of my mouth. Right. So, yeah, when I don't think I've ever talked about Mother Earth, simply because Mother Earth is associated with hundreds of religions that are not Christianity, and I don't want to lose my audience.
Is there a difference between would you say that there is a big difference between those religions that lived in the forest and lived with the earth and the ones that are part of civilization? Like, even though they have different beliefs among those forest people, their main purpose in their heart is to live with the earth,
right,
and not harm the earth.
Right.
So that's got to be like a big dividing factor.
Well, you know what? We all know that Jesus came in the 1st century, but something else that people don't talk about because they really don't know is that cultures around the earth have had these mystical, magical, spiritual people that have visited them in the past.
Right.
And like right before Columbus brought invaders from Europe, there is a story about a visitor that came and told them there's these strange people are going to come, they're going to destroy your land, but they're only going to be here for a short while, and God will make things better. Okay, that story would be cool in and of itself if only one tribe had that story.
Right.
But dozens of tribes had that same exact story, and these tribes did not get the story from one another.
Right.
And so it makes me believe that that really happened, and that probably was Jesus, or at least some angel that was sent. I mean, it's not talked about in the Bible, so we think it can't be somebody from God because everything God did is in the Bible. Well, the Bible itself says you can't put everything God did in the Bible.
Right.
It'd be all the books in the world couldn't hold information about what God has done.
It's just the important things and the most important things.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing that has really come into, my way of thinking, is that if you go back, there are wars where this empire and this empire decide to duke it out. Right. But a lot of what we call wars was basically the empires invading indigenous people, minding their own business, and exterminating them. That's not called a war, that's called a genocide.
Right.
If you look at every genocide conducted in modern times, the vast majority were brought about and done by Christianity. World War II, we got to round up all of these people, basically the good indigenous peoples, because even though all these civilization people were involved, they were always looking for people who were just minding their own business and not really involved in that.
Right.
Same thing with pretty much all of these wars, the Revolutionary War, all of these wars involved killing Native Americans, or rounding up and killing the natives of Africa, or going down into South America and killing those people, which is going on today if there's any left.
Australia and all them countries.
The Aboriginal peoples of Australia is always about rounding them up, putting them in concentration camps, calling the concentration camps
prisons, basically.
Well, reservations.
Right.
Have you ever lived on a reservation?
I have not, but I know that they're basically a modern-day prison, a lot of them.
And so I look at it as like all of the indigenous peoples were doing God's will. So the soldiers of the empire, when they had to go into North America and exterminate everybody, that was not because the people who lived here were bad. It was like when Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Cain did not kill Abel because Abel was bad. The Bible very clearly says Cain killed Abel because Abel was good.
Right.
The Europeans who came here and exterminated the indigenous peoples did not exterminate them because they were bad. They exterminated the indigenous peoples because they were good.
Right.
So how do you feel about that now that we've talked about it twice?
I'm happy, and it reminds me of a prophecy, a Native American prophecy that I heard, and that was in the last days, a group of people would rise again that had indigenous in their spirit.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And they would once again make a comeback on this earth.
Hey, you know what? That sounds like 100% straight out of the Bible, because remember all the times that God said, I shall bring my people Israel back?
Right.
Okay, so in the empire, the way they see that is the nation of Israel will be reestablished. So in 1948, when that demonic entity recreated itself as a nation, people thought that was the fulfillment of that prophecy.
Right.
That prophecy is not fulfilled until the actual living people who lived in Israel at that time are resurrected from the dead.
Right.
So that's basically the same thing that your prophecy is about, is that those people will rise up. Every single prophecy in the Bible about bringing back a nation is basically about bringing back the indigenous peoples of this world.
Right.
They're all peoples of this world.
Right.
But then again, the Bible says when Jesus comes, he's going to separate the sheep from the goats, so somehow the wicked will be kept separate from the righteous.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to do that. I've speculated about it in the past, and I think I'm right. But at the same time, it's like the resurrection is not a reward for doing good. The resurrection is what happens to people who have died, which is everybody.
Right.
Well, I think that's all we need to talk about. You got anything you want to add?
I just want to encourage everyone out there that listens to Substance and Covering. The time is getting short. and you're not going to have to wait too much longer. That's my true belief. And just hang in there and love one another.
And you know, it doesn't hurt to reach out, like to one another. We've been talking about, not just me and Jerrell, or me and Carlos, or me and any of the other people who have helped me out. You've seen me do videos with plenty of people, but not just to leave comments on the YouTube videos, but somehow I think over time we need to all kind of gather together. I don't think we need to start a church, but I think it's good, like for me, I'll sit here and get to a really, really low point of clinical depression, and then God will send somebody. Like this time around, it just happened to be Jerrell. I was really like losing my mind. Jerrell contacted me. He said, when, could I ever visit you? And I said, well, wait, I'm cutting down trees and mowing the grass, and if you want to do that, you can come visit me right now.
Yeah.
So he showed up with a chainsaw, and that's what we've been doing for the last 4 days.
Yep.
So, yeah, if anybody else wants to come cut my grass, you could probably see it needs it right here.
Yeah, you'll get to eat all the free blueberries you want, and that's
yeah.
fun.
Well, if you get here for blueberry harvest, the next time, or what's the next thing come up? Pears. We got thousands of pears. You'll be able to eat.
Persimmons.
Yeah,
pears.
persimmons would be coming due. Yep. So, anyways, yeah, there's always something to eat around here, even if we have to go to Walmart and just get some like canned beans.
Yep.
All right, well, as always, I hope you enjoyed this little video and that you will continue to watch and participate. And if you don't want to survive,
don't listen to him.
Us. Don't listen to us.
To us.
All right, bye.